Hello friends, in this video I will be creating a simple HTTP server and will try to test it by using Chrome, curl command and Postman. So without any further ado, let's get started. So in one of my previous shorts video, I showed you how to create a HTTP file server by using JWeb server. JWeb server is a Java tool that was introduced in recent Java JDK. So let's see that again. So JWeb server. Okay, so this creates a new server. Let's open the server. Let's open this server and you can see that there are total 5 files, and if you open pushkar.json or ujjwal.json, you can see a JSON output file. So this is an inbuilt server. In this video I will be creating something similar to this server right from scratch. I have already created a Pojo class to represent these three fields: name, email, company. So you can see employee, name, email, company. So let's create our HTTP server. So simple HTTP server, static public static void main. Let's create our server socket. Okay, so server socket, let's call it server, and new server socket, and port, let's create a port like 9000. Okay, so and let this server accept multiple requests. As you know that HTTP server is a stateless protocol. Okay, so one request goes to the server, it serves it, and the connection is closed. Now it is ready to serve the next request. So we'll create something similar to it. So let's have a while loop, and infinite while loop, and let's accept one request. Okay, so this line accept a request from any client. So, and this is a socket. Okay, so let's call this as client. Yeah, and so whenever a socket is created, two stream gets created between the server and the client. One is called input stream, where whatever the data client sends comes to the input stream, and whatever the data that server sends goes to the output stream to the client. So let's create an object to represent that. So first we'll create, say, buffer reader. Okay, to read the data from the input stream. So let's call it reader, and new buffer reader, and new input stream reader socket, not socket, client dot get input stream. So this reader is used to read the data from our client. Okay, now let's create an object to write data to our client. So for that I will be using a print writer. So print writer, let's call it writer, new print writer, output stream writer, and client dot get output stream. Okay, so now we have an object to read the data and write the data. So now whenever a client make a request, it is a get request. Okay, so we need to read all the get request, basically the header and the body part. So I can show you. So see here, the server is up. So let's make a get request. Okay, so curl 127.0.0.1, and the port is 8000, and let's say pushkar.json. See, you are getting the data here, but this curl command is actually making a get request to this endpoint. Okay, to this endpoint. So to see it, let's make this request again, but in verbose mode. So see here, it is making a get request. Okay, so this is the header and this is the response. Okay, this is the response header, and this is the actual response from the server. So the HTTP HTTP GET request always begin with a get. Okay, get word. Okay, and there is a space between the resource and the get word, and also a space between the HTTP protocol. So this is the first line that you get when someone makes an HTTP get request. And there is a one more character at the end, okay, which we call CLRF. CL is carriage, um, um, CRLF, we call it CRLF, carriage return and line feed. Okay, so that is hidden basically. So every line of HTTP headers end with CRLF. Okay, I'll tell you how the CRLF looks like. Okay, and whenever the HTTP headers end, there is a empty line. Okay, so now let's replicate this. Okay, so in my case, my resource is not this pushkar.json. I will simply use pushkar or slash visual, whatever. Okay, so let's read this line, because you don't know how many headers are there. So let's create a infinite while loop to read all the headers. Okay, so while true, let's create string line is equals to reader dot read line, and so let's first print all the line. Okay, let's call it header. So this represents the header. Okay, and the last line is empty line. Okay, so the last line, if the line dot equals to empty line, then it should break. Okay, so let's run it. Let's see what happens. Okay, let's what should we do? Let's make a curl command only. Okay, curl 127.0.0.0.1 slash, let's say, pushkar. Oh, it's not okay, we'll forget the we'll forget the port. So the port is 9000. As you can see, these are the headers that comes to the server. Okay, so now let's extract the resource. Okay, so the resource is here is pushkar. The client is asking details of pushkar. Okay, so the first header always start with the HTTP method. Okay, so in this case it's a get method, and get, the signature of get method is get, then resource, and then HTTP protocol version. Okay, so let's say if the line contains, if the line contains get, okay, then I know that it's a resource line. So let's start I need this to find this resource name. Okay, in my case it's pushkar. Okay, so to get that, what I will do is, let's say int start index, say line dot, can say index of slash int end index line dot index of space HTTP. So basically my resource is between this start index and end index. So let's extract it out. So string person is equals to line dot substring start index plus 1 end index. Okay, let's print our person. Okay, let's see whether it is actually printing or not. Person name is equals to person. Yeah, I think it should work. So let's rerun it again and let's make another request. So Pushkar, so now you can say the person name is Pushkar, and now let's make this as Ujjwal, and you can see the person name is Ujjwal. So basically we are able to extract the resource name. Okay, now we need to return the response corresponding to this resource. Okay, so let's create a method to return the basically to create some sample employee data and return it. I have already created, so let me just copy paste it. So basically if the name is Pushkar, it will return Pushkar and abc.pushkar.com, and company name is new company. For example, Ujjwal, the name will be Ujjwal and email will be abc@ujjwal.com. company is a game company, and if the name is Pushkar, then it will return the Pushkar employee. If the name is Ujjwal, it will return the Ujjwal employee. If the name is anything apart from Pushkar and Ujjwal, it will return an empty employee. Okay, so now here till this point I have the resource. Okay, and I have read all the headers. So now let's create our employee. Let's have this person name above this while loop. Okay, so now we need to write the response, okay, in the output stream. Okay, and in our output stream to write data we'll use this writer. So as you can see in the output, this is the output header. We need to give information to our client that what we are sending, how we are sending, and how much we are sending. Okay, everything, so that the client can understand what is the expected data, because the data transfers in byte. The client doesn't know, right, that what is coming. So we need to give all this information, and in HTTP protocol 1.1 you provide all this in the header part. Okay, so let's write the header. Okay, so in the header, writer dot, you can say print. So, and in the header also, let me give you some information. Each header, okay, each header is one line. Okay, and at the end of the line we have this CRLF. Okay, carrier return and line feed. So that is like let's me create that. String CLRF is equals to, this is the correct two bytes. Okay, that is present at the end of each line. This is also present at the end of the request header also. Okay, but in this case I was just reading the line, so I did not do with anything with this, but in the response I need to add this line. Okay, so now first what you should write. So in the response of HTTP 1, the response begins with this, the protocol, the status, and the code. Okay, so here like print, okay, it's one line, so print HTTP version, now the code is 200, and okay, and here you will write this CLRF. Okay, and in this second line is date is not required. Okay, the more important thing is the type, what type of data you are sending. So in this case I'm sending a JSON data. In case of website you will be sending the HTML data. Okay, so here I'll simply write this content type. Okay, so writer dot print, okay, and at the end crlf. And now you need to give the information that how much byte you are sending, so that the client is aware. Okay, so you can say content length, and the length will be my employee dot toString dot length. Okay, and yeah, that's it. The one more important thing is these are header. Okay, you should have one empty line before the actual data. Okay, so let's add one empty line, or to add an empty line you can just write this println. If you are aware, this println adds /n at the end, so basically it's nothing but a new line. So now you can just send your data. So writer dot print, and what data you will write? You will write this employee dot toString. Okay, so, and after sending the data, what you should do, basically there are three streams. Okay, input stream, output stream, and also a socket. You need to close it. So before closing, let flush this writer. So writer dot flush, so that data goes away, there is no chance that some data is pending. And then writer dot, let's say, close reader dot close, and also let's close this socket as well. Okay, we are saying socket as client, so client dot close. Why I'm closing it? Because HTTP is a stateless protocol. Each request is independent of the previous request, so every request is a new request. Okay, so it's better to close it. So I think this is good enough. Let's run this and see. Okay, so see here, HTTP header without colon. So in some header there is no colon. So this content length, there should be a space, okay, between this content length. So let's add a space, and yeah, and in this length, okay, again this crlf is missing, so crlf. Okay, and I think this should be good. So let's run it. So let's make a request. See, the request is gone here. Okay, so header was this, the person we extracted this, and the response was sent. So let's write this like response is to client. Okay, response is sent to clients. So now let's do this on the Chrome. So let's say 127. So my port was 9000, I guess. Let's make it Pushkar. Okay, you can see this exactly same thing in the network request. So let's refresh it. So for Pushkar, see this raw. So these many headers are sent while making the GET request. Okay, and these are the response this Chrome has get from the server. Okay, and this will work exactly same from Postman. So let's make a GET request from Postman. You can see the response is this. And same, you can also create a HTTP client from a program and then call this. So this, you can see this as a client server architecture. So in the next video, I can also create a client, HTTP client, by using this TCP socket and deploy this server in one host and run the client from one host, and they can communicate each other. This is what in this video. I hope you learned something new. Thanks. Bye.